Swerveface needs to read Three Bears.
I could.
But that may come later. Hey, Omega.
Yes, Gunner.
So, this week, I found myself in a predicament. Because I was watching some old clips from, 2002, 2003. And I was watching the first run of a wrestler who's on right now. And I said to myself, well, you might have to stop watching these because you have to go to the bathroom. And myself said, oh? Well, unless you want Brock Lesnar running down your leg, I mean, you really should go. And so I F5'd my toilet. That was a joke. And this is the podcast. Here's the theme song. And welcome to episode number 84 of Who Gets Serious. I am Gunner, and that is Omega BR.
I think that might have been your 82nd worst intro.
Yeah, that was full of piss. That's for sure. Joining us this week is our wonderful sound producer, Mr. Jacob DDS.
As always.
And also this week joining us as a guest is, it's Matt Jester.
Yes, the man who whoops more than Jerry the King Lawler when he's having a heart attack, and I should know. Hello, everybody.
And the person who makes all the bingo boards, and the other thing that I forgot to introduce them as, King of the Swerves, is Swerveface.
It's always been a fantasy of mine to be a sex slave for two bears. You know the...
Alright, and let's get into the news. Former WWE development talent Brian McGee, wow, that's the real name, by the way, known as DC Porter from 2010 to 2012, is being charged with first-degree murder after allegedly seeing his girlfriend in Tampa. McGee fled from the police and crashed his Pioneer Grand Prix after a chase. In May 2012, McGee posted a cracker up on Facebook later claiming he was hacked, where he talks about struggling to maintain sanity. Trainers going out of their way to disrespect him and drinking to the point of keeping alcohol in his trunk. Raj Giri spoke with a friend of McGee's who claims that he's a different person who has always talked about how awful developmental system was and how he could be picked on about an injury that kept him out for 10 months. He was denied bail, and there's apparently a very strong case against him with several eyewitnesses. Dun dun dun.
Wow.
Not that I would accuse them of driving someone to murder, but I think it's important to, recognize the fact that the friend said it was developmental. He seemed very unhappy in developmental. Apparently there was hazing going on, bullying, something like that. And there's been a lot of that kind of smoke lately.
I've heard of developmental being so bad he can drive you to drink, but drive you to off someone? Oh, good lord. We all hope that that's not what happened here, and this poor guy, and his poor girlfriend, for God's sake, but we gotta find out, a little bit more information about what the hell's going on around here, because it ain't kosher in the delicatessen.
It really seems like some sort of, he went off the rocker, and he's already that way. So, I mean, if there's a, quote, strong case against him, then there's probable cause that he was, he basically went crazy and decided to take it out on this poor girl who he supposedly loves. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that we're kind of sitting here and that's the case. I mean, if this is the kind of guy that would do this, then he was not ready for any sort of responsibility that would come along with being a WWE superstar, so it's not terribly surprising that he was released.
Well, the thing of it is, again, if there were warning signs, this Facebook post and such, if he really was suffering some kind of abuse in developmental, you'd think people would pick up on these things, because, with each new tragedy, and then people say, oh, well, he was unhappy for a long time. Oh, he had this Facebook post, But in a wrestling context, like I said, if there was something fishy going on in developmental, again, not saying it's their fault, but, there's been a lot of smoke to that fire lately. Alright, well, why don't we talk about our favorite company, TNA? Apparently, there are several TNA talents contacting WWE, but the company absolutely refuses to speak with them while they're still under contract to TNA. Don't want any messy legal business like with Ric Flair. However, Matt Morgan, who is gone from TNA, is a strong candidate to perhaps come back to the company this year sometime, that company being WWE. Apparently TNA is mandated in their ongoing quest to be extra careful that wrestlers keep away from the barricades and do not throw each other into them, with failure to do so resulting in a fine of at least half that night's pay. Obviously, because the wrestlers are independent contractors and TNA would be unable to cover them should a fan be hurt and litigation be filed. Meanwhile, the great Muda, who now runs the Wrestle One promotion in Japan after leaving All Japan Pro Wrestling with several talents, is now in talks with TNA for a talent exchange, and he met Jeff Jarrett this week.
Woo woo! Yeah, baby!
I don't know, TNA does need all the help they can get right now, but they don't have a great track record when it comes to talent exchange.
That's true. I think we're seeing this through the eyepiece of WCW when they had talent exchanges with New Japan and AAA.
Who wants to see Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe in Japan? Come on.
Oh, I do. That'd be fine. They could be young boyed out. The dojo, bitch.
Hear, hear.
What?
Stay in Japan, like forever. I'd be okay with that.
Forever. No one knows. You guys have no idea what I'm quoting here, do you? Forever. No? Well, alright, here's what she says. World Cup, anyone?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, what was that?
World Cup.
Oh, the World Cup. No, I think they're done with that.
What? Who watches soccer?
We're not talking soccer.
A lot of the old Japan guys, I think that came with them aren't really ex-guys. They're more, heavyweights.
Well, I mean, the idea would be to get, in my opinion, it would be to get a bunch of guys together, bring them over, and then just do the X World Cup, and then do that again.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they're. I don't know if they're really in a position to do that right at the moment because, again, the money issue.
Well, there's that.
And really, would it draw more viewers to the show? Maybe, maybe not. Alright, that's enough TNA for now.
Yeah, that's enough TNA for now. After their pre-show match against the Usos at Money in the Bank, any talk of heat on the Shield has died down. Apparently, whatever it was considered to be petty, with one rumor being Roman Reigns calling out Randy Orton over a blown spot in a house show match. Regardless of what happened, there was a power struggle of sorts as Vince McMahon wanted the group to be punished, and Triple H fought against doing so on TV to keep them looking strong. So I get...
In other news...
We're being worked, brother. We're being worked, brother.
That's a good possibility as well. It does kind of reek of kayfabe there.
Maybe. I don't know, the whole Triple H versus Vince McMahon thing. Triple H does, seem to take a more active role in terms of getting to know the talent and what they're about. And, how they'll actually be portrayed on television than just, Vince, who seems to hire them. He might have a few that are his favorite, but, I doubt Vince even knows the names of every single roster member,
Yep, if Triple H is the new school, then it's better than the old school, fool.
Then again, the Shield 3, well, at least in the case of Rollins and Ambrose, guys who, they're very used to the independent scene, they were top guys on the independent scene, they might be a little more outspoken than your average, farm leaguer.
Yeah, big fish going into an even bigger pool.
Ahmed Johnson recently did interviews in which he alleges that he was going to be in a program with then WWF champion The Undertaker, but was told that the company felt the public was not ready for a black champion. He also claims robots.
I can hear you.
Am I good?
You're good now.
Alright. Ahmed Johnson recently did interviews in which he alleges that he's going to do a program with then WWF champion The Undertaker, but was told that the company felt the public was not ready for a black champion. He also claims that Jeff Jarrett was particularly racist, and that Pat Patterson would exchange promotions for sexual favors, being something of a bully in that respect, only with men instead of women. We're all same shit, different day. Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah, if anyone mentions Pat Patterson and sexual harassment, we all know it's true.
Oh, it's gotta be, absolutely. And if we're not ready for Black Champion, I mean, come on now, Ron Simmons, back in the early 90s was totally not ready, brother.
Well, that was WCW, though.
But that's still a world champion.
Right, but you're talking about a different promotion than McMahon's than WWF. I mean,
at the time, WCW was the... at the time Ahmed was going to be put... At the time it was going to be put on him. I mean, you could argue that WWF was the number 2 promotion. I mean, it wasn't until 97 and 98 when it was actually, accelerating into the program where it should have... going into the Attitude Era and taking over the 63-week, streak that WCW had beating Raw. It could be argued that WWE was number 2 at that particular instance. I don't see the comparison here is that Ron Simmons did it 8 years earlier, and we're not ready for a black champion. I don't think so, Tim.
It's hard to say, really. I mean, different companies, different attitudes, different people. Johnson. I'm not saying it. It's hard to say. Some of the stuff he said might be true. Of course, then he also said that when they would go on foreign tours, that he was the number 1 draw, and that everybody loved him and cheered for him the loudest, and He wasn't bad for what he was back in the day. Alright, so, let's wrap it up here. We've got Michael Cole noting on Twitter that Jerry Lawler drove 4 hours in the wrong direction to get to the Raw taping in Laredo, instead ending up in Dallas before WWE had to charter a flight for him. Stacy Keibler has apparently turned down WWE several times over the past couple of years to make an appearance, most recently when they came to her hometown of Baltimore, which was right after her breakup with George Clooney. And get this, WWE was planning on inducting T-Generation X as a unit in this year's Hall of Fame class until they struck a deal with Bruno Sammartino, so the group was expected to get it inducted this year in New Orleans, with China actually being considered for an invitation.
Hello!
I would not be surprised if this was a real thing.
Oh, I'd love for this to be a real thing.
There's a lot.
Are the WWE going to be releasing the Queen of the Ring porno as well? It's part of the highlights of what China's been doing since T-Generation X. And then you get the, who was that guy? What, all those guys, and Ron Jeremy. China sucking off Ron Jeremy, I'm sure everyone would like that.
He could induct the group.
There you go.
There is a lot of, burned bridges being repaired lately, like with Ultimate Warrior and stuff, so who knows?
Yeah,
The Ultimate Warrior thing is this. It isn't necessarily between WWE and, Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior signed a contract with 2K Sports to be in the game. Whether or not there's actually, the steps to get to the bridge in which to mend
the thing is, Vince said on Twitter he wanted to welcome Warrior back, and Warrior replied with this big thing of, "Thank you, Vince. You've always been a strong person," and this and that. So they're not there yet. They haven't crossed the bridge, but they're starting to mend it.
So how long before Owen Hart and Macho Man Randy Savage get inducted?
Owen will take Martha to come around to actually do it once Martha gets all her money. And Chris Benoit, never. Well,
I didn't even mention Stevie Richards. He was talking about the Macho Man.
Oh, and Macho Man, excuse me. Macho Man goes in with Lanny and his father Angelo as the Poffos at some point in the future.
Yep, that's the only way that's going to happen.
That will happen before Owen Hart gets inducted. I'm calling it right now.
Alright. That works for me. And you know what else works for me? The news ending! And that's what we're doing right now. The news is over, and we are going to jump into the 15-minute time limit. This week, we are going to talk about Mr. Daniel Bryan. It's been, the storyline going into WrestleMania is Daniel Bryan ready, brother? And my question to all of you is, do you feel that Daniel Bryan is a suitable replacement for John Cena?
You mean as WWE Champion?
As WWE Champion and the #1 top face of the company.
Well, I don't know about top face, but WWE Champion, I think he's got the goods. He's been pretty consistently popular over the last year and a half. People might say things like, "Oh, it's not him, it's his catchphrase." Well, the catchphrase is a big part of the person. He's shown he's got kind of a range of character between going from kind of the jerk of being AJ's boyfriend to, well, first he went to kind of that rags to riches story where he beat Big Show, underdog type. Then he was with AJ, then kind of being a jerk, then being Kane's tag team partner, and then kind of rising back to singles popularity again. So, I think as WWE Champion, he does have a lot of potential. and he's kind of like, I don't really want to bring up Rey Mysterio and Mysterio's kind of dismal World Championship reign, but it's kind of the same thing as far as, the not the little guy per se, but like the guy who is sort of, the underdog.
Well, I mean, obviously he's the underdog, but the reason why I'm asking this, and the reason why this is being brought up, is that if you've noticed over the past little bit that Daniel Bryan, when Daniel Bryan comes out and John Cena comes out, and they come out relatively shortly after each other, you notice a difference in the crowd. John Cena, for the longest time, ever since probably WrestleMania 22, has been winning these cheers and boos. The cheers from the women and from the kids, and then the boos from the boys and the guy and the older guys. And what happens is that, the crowd is polarized and whatnot, and John reacts to it, and, that's fine, whatever. But at the same time, you have Daniel Bryan coming out, same goofy babyface kind of shit, but the guys and the girls and the kids like him. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that, why would you... John's getting up there. I mean, he's been, the king for a while now, and obviously he's established and he's done a bunch of stuff, but at the same time, Daniel Bryan is a little younger. I mean, they're relatively the same age, but a little younger and a fresh face, and somebody that could carry the company like Punk did for the past 2 years. And my question is, do you see this transitioning over to a Daniel Bryan sort of, major push for the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, you gotta figure that if something happens to John Cena in any way, shape, or form, they will need somebody in the way of replacement. And, you never want to wish nasty on anybody, but injuries are a common occurrence here. So you have to have somebody ready to go, somebody who's established. So establishing more people, the better. And, of course, if you're a hard wrestling mark and a smark like some of us, you know where Daniel Bryan has come from the past 10 years before he got in the WWE. You know how hard he's worked his ass off. You know that this guy deserves the best of whatever the wrestling life has to offer. And I'm not going to say a word about the Bellas right now, but, this is what we should be moving forward towards. If Cena is going to retire sometime in the future, then we need a new king.
Well, I still think it's a little bit early to... Now, granted, you always want to have a backup, but I still think it's a little bit early to be, predicting John Cena's replacement. But, you bring up the Bellas, something about this whole thing. I know it's still kind of in the middle of it, and we still have, 2-3 weeks until SummerSlam. But, I feel like Bryan himself is not really being showcased as a star. I mean, he's doing some great things in the ring. He beat Kane this week. He had that great series last week, especially with Antonio Cesaro. So in the ring, he's a great technician. He can get it done. But as far as Bryan as a character, he's got this whole weak link affliction. Now we get the McMahons involved again, because now the McMahons think, Vince doesn't think Bryan's good enough. Triple H thinks he is. Stephanie thinks he should get a makeover. You have Maddox in the middle saying that Bryan's, small and can't do it. Not a good choice. You have, like Manchester mentioned, that low-hanging fruit of the Bella twins possibly getting involved because, they're with both Cena and Bryan. So, I'd like this feud to be a little bit more about Bryan himself, you know what I mean? Because it feels like everybody's sort of pulling the strings for Bryan. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe right before SummerSlam, Bryan will get in Cena's face and yell that classic, you're not better than me that he did during the Nexus invasion. I don't know.
Is anyone bothered by the slightest that Daniel Bryan's really only getting this push because of the Bellas?
I'm not exactly sure of that, though. I mean, I don't know what the attraction is to the Bellas. I'm going to stay away as far as possible of saying that the Bellas are unattractive or crap like that. But as far as, he's just getting the push because of the Bellas, I would think that, he'd be getting the push because of the fans. If Vince doesn't want to actually push him, kayfabe aside, and the push he's getting because of having the head of the company against you, then, why is he should listen to the fans and just do it.
I don't think he's getting pushed just because of his relationship with Abella. I think it could have something to do with it, because he's on this new show that they're on, and he's one of their boyfriends. I forget which. They're both equally terrible.
Bree's with Brian. Nikki's with John.
Bree and Brian. That's adorable. And by adorable,
Oh, yes.
I gouged my eyes out with a rusty spoon. But
So sickeningly sweet, there goes my diabetes, yes.
Brian is terrific. I think he would have got pushed no matter what eventually. I think part of this whole Brian not being a big part of this angle and what's pushing it has to do with both him and Cena being faces. Because somebody has to be the bad guy in this. So I think what they're trying to do is make Vince and Brad Maddox the bad guys, and then you've got Triple H, who is behind Brian 100%, and then Stephanie is just kind of like, ooh, let's give him a makeover, because apparently that's all that women care about, I guess, or whatever.
I don't know where the hell that's going, but that's as scary as all get out right there.
If he shaves, I'll never watch wrestling again until next week, and then I'll watch wrestling again.
I just think that this corporate makeover thing is going to be interesting because I don't think that he'll go along with it necessarily. And yeah, they're going to. Unless you haven't noticed on WWE.com, they have an app where you can shave Daniel Bryan's beard.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Seriously? I mean, that sounds like something from the Joker, for God's sake.
No, I'm not kidding. I mean, that's a real thing that you guys should probably check out.
Oh, Lord.
There's also a Color the Shield in, where you can color them. And also, about Daniel Bryan and the corporate makeover, there was a poll on the WWE site where it was like a 51%, 49%, oh gee, this sound, oh, was it even like that? But yeah, rigged polls, hooray!
Yeah, did you see the one with Maxine?
Oh yeah, I wonder if they're going to fix that, or they're going to let us rig the polls for Raw next Monday.
Something must have gotten screwed up with that because that's ridiculous.
Basically, to do these polls, they don't do it like one vote per IP address. It's just you just refresh the page and keep on voting. That's all you do.
Well, that's
Really?
rigged.
All that too, yeah.
It doesn't matter how every person on Earth could vote one way, and if it does not fit the way they want it to go, they will skew the results in whatever ways necessary to make it fit what they're trying to do. I wouldn't be surprised if every other vote for the opposite of what they want is counted for the result that they're looking for.
No, even Vince wouldn't be that obvious.
Well, it's not obvious, because how are you going to know what other people vote for? I mean, it's not like it's transparent voting where, it shows you every vote and how they voted. You just kind of have to take their word for it that the results they're showing are not bullshit. Pro tip, they are.
Some of the polls are bullshit. Some of them are not. I mean, obviously there are a few polls that are legit, and I think that one or two of them get through, and then it gets to the dirt sheets that it's legit, and so that there is some sort of questionability, and accountability for the WWE to actually put through. But the point of the matter is that while Daniel, to get back on topic here, it seems to me that they're grooming Daniel Bryan, to be a long-term main eventer, as in he's ready, brother, and he's going to be, in the same vein as CM Punk, and we're going to finally get the main event push with, Daniel Bryan versus a bunch of other people. You guys see him winning at SummerSlam?
Oh, there's a definite possibility he'll win at SummerSlam. Whether or not, however, we'll have any malarkey from Vince is another matter entirely, and everybody else will be, screaming their heads off that this is the dawn of the legendary, foretold, prophesied Cena heel turn.
I don't know about that, but there's always that other thing hanging over our heads, which is Randy Orton with the Money in the Bank briefcase, possibly cashing it in, becoming champion, and then feuding with Cena, and Bryan's left out in the cold. Which I sincerely hope doesn't happen, but, you never know.
I doubt that at this point that will happen. If this was Daniel Bryan a year ago, I would say that it would happen. But if it's Daniel Bryan now, they have a really strong chance of making another person like a Randy Orton, like a John Cena, where we're sitting about... I understand that we won't be complaining about Daniel Bryan too much, because it's fucking Daniel Bryan. But, we'll put him in the same echelon as John Cena, Randy Orton, etc. The guys who have made it and who've been there for a long time.
I would be happy if it got to the point where we were like, lol, dick butt wins. In fact, I'm going to go make 5 of those macro images right now.
I don't know what I'm going to add in the bingo card for dick butt wins. I'll have to figure out something. Because, I usually put Cena Winslow in the middle, but there's a chance that Cena will lose, and then Orton's probably going to cash in, and everyone's going to get pissed off about it. Yay. I see we're joined by Robot Booker T.
I will rage my dick off if Dick Butt wins, Orton cashes in, and then takes the title from him.
You and everyone else. Alright, and that's it for the 15-minute time limit. Yeah, come on. Are we going to start into the next segment, or are we going to go to break?
We're going to go ahead and go to break. We've got 11 minutes left in the half. So before we go out, we're going to play a Shining Wizzato song. That's Shining Wizzato... I'm sorry, it's SuperBlizzard.com now. SuperBlizzard.com. Go check him out. He makes the funniest and the best wrestling-themed music anywhere, anytime, any place, any universe. Wait, that's the same thing as a place, isn't it? It doesn't matter. Super.
Yes.
Shining Wizzato. This one is called Diva.
to hell with traditional ways. Give me both the present, solitary. Fuck all of you.
Alright, and that was the song, and that was pretty cool. Make sure to check out smarksnark.com, and for all of your Smark Snark needs, Woo Get Serious will be right back after this message. Well, it won't be a message, it'll just be dead air for you guys on Spreaker.
But then we'll be right back.
Promise. Promise. Gateway issues coming up.